Two tripods, both alike in dignity, in fair YouTube studio where we lay our scene. That was Romeo and Juliet.
Shut up, nerd. You hella weird.
These are arguably two of the best travel tripods on the market right now, and we're going to compare them based on these important categories: weight, size, load capacity and stability, build quality, functionality, and price. Let's flip the script and start with price. Whoa, a YouTuber that starts with price? Is the end of times near? Maybe. And just to note, this video is not sponsored in any way by any of these companies. I really don't care who wins. I just want the info in this video to be as accurate as possible so you can make an informed decision. So Peak Design's aluminum travel tripod is $379 and Freewell's is $299. We're comparing Peak Design's aluminum travel tripod today and not their carbon fiber one because the aluminum tripod is pretty close to the price of Freewell's, which makes it a little more fair. Peak Design's carbon fiber tripod is $300 more than Freewell's. And if you're wondering what is the difference between their aluminum and carbon fiber tripod, the carbon fiber one is obviously made of a different material, and because of that, it is lighter than this. That is it. So bringing it back, Freewell gets a point here for being almost $100 cheaper than Peak Design's aluminum tripod. The biggest thing you'll notice when holding the two is the weight difference. Peak Design's is 3.6 pounds or 1.63 kilograms, for those of you not in the US, and Freewell's is 1.93 pounds or 0.87 kilograms. So there's nearly a 2-pound difference between the two. This may not seem like a huge difference, but trust me, it's something that you can definitely feel. And one would assume that you're buying one of these as your on-the-go tripod, so added weight is fairly important, I would assume. So point goes to Freewell for weight. As far as size, Freewell's is a bit skinnier than Peak Design's when broken down, but with the 360-degree ball head that the Freewell tripod comes with on it, it is taller than Peak Design's. You could take this head off if you needed to store it in a small space though. So as far as their size when broken down, we'll call it a tie because Peak Design's is shorter, but it's also a little thicker. Load capacity and stability hands down goes to Peak Design. You can feel pretty comfortable putting a somewhat heavy camera setup on this tripod, and I'm not sure you can say the same for Freewell's. This is most likely because the Peak Designs is heavier, but I've also noticed that the feet on the Peak Designs are more flush with the ground, so there's more surface area to grip. As far as stats, Peak Design's tripod has a 20-pound load capacity, but Freewell's is 10 pounds. If you added a sandbag or your bag to the hook underneath Freewell's, it certainly feels more stable. This is what I do sometimes, but the same could also be done for the Peak Designs, so it's not like this cancels anything out. Just think about what you're going to be putting on your tripod. If it's just a camera and maybe a small zoom or prime lens, then either would be fine. But if you have heavier lenses and a camera rig, then the Peak Designs is definitely the call. So the point for stability and load capacity goes to Peak Design. The build quality of both feels very solid. I can't crack a leg, if that means anything, but Freewell's does feel a bit cheaper, like it's cheaper made. I do think that's partly because it's just lighter. They both have different locking mechanisms that I think are worth mentioning. Peak Designs has these latch locks that you push down in each section to lock the legs. Freewell's has a way to lock that I thought I would hate, but I've really come to appreciate. So when extending, you just twist the end to lock the whole leg at whatever length it's at. From my experience, both are great, but the Peak Design's locks sometimes become weak enough that the legs start to collapse and drift down. So you may need to use the hex key that the tripod comes with to tighten these. I've had the tripod for around a year, and I've needed to do this maybe once or twice. Freewell's locking mechanism can also cause an issue for you if sections of the legs aren't fully locked. There have been occasions when my tripod will start sagging and I'll have to lift up that section and turn the individual section to lock it. Even though stuff like this doesn't happen all that often, I wanted to bring it to your attention. So I have to give a tie to both of these when it comes to build quality and locking, but maybe a slight edge goes to Peak Design. On to functionality. Both have hooks for more weight to stabilize the tripod, and both are nearly the same height fully extended. The Peak Design tripod is just an inch taller than Freewell's at maximum height. I think you'll be a fan of both of these ball heads that come with the tripod. Peak Designs is really unique and very easy to use. I like how it stays flush with the tripod legs when pushed all the way down, and it's even easier to use than Freewell's tripod head actually. To adjust the angle of your camera, you just turn the ring on the ball head to unlock, and then turn it again to lock. It's that simple. It has a large range of motion as well, which is great. The Freewell head also has the same range of motion though. Another plus for Peak Design is that you will likely feel that your camera is safer on it than Freewell's with its base plate locking mechanism. With Freewell's, you twist to tighten the lock in your camera, and there is a safety stop on there, but with Peak Designs, you just pull down the safety latch and then lock that latch with this dial here so it cannot be pressed down again. There is pretty much no way that your camera can get away from you with this. The head-on Freewell's definitely has more functionality for video shooters though. While you can try and pan with the Peak Design one, there's no friction to prevent it from tilting up and down, so you'd really have to be smooth with the pan. And if you're thinking, well, I would just take off the ball head and replace it with the fluid head of my choice, you unfortunately would have to buy a whole new center column with a special adapter to do so. With Freewell's handle and the different locking mechanisms, you can definitely pan and tilt and move your camera a lot easier. But because this has more latches, it does mean it's not as simple to adjust and lock as Peak Design. So if you mainly take photos, then Peak Design is the way to go in my opinion. But if you mainly shoot video, I would give the point to Freewell. Freewell's tripod also has some other perks that may be useful to you. There's 1/4-inch thread mounts on the tripod head, as well as 2 where the legs start to extend out. This can be useful to attach a monitor, a microphone, or whatever you'd like. And you can also unscrew one of the legs to use it as a monopod. Looks like I forgot my drumming skills. This is something that I personally look for in a travel tripod because there are times when I would like to get unique shots with my gimbal on a monopod, so having that is a huge plus. Both have the ability to take out the center column and install underneath, which could be useful to shoot low angles, top-down shots, macro photography, and stuff. When you take out the hook on Peak Designs to set this up though, this cool little mobile phone mount will pop out, which you can use to mount your phone onto the tripod. Although Freewell's tripod does come with a phone mount, the fact that this is so discreetly snug inside the center column of the Peak Design is a plus. Both tripods' legs widen out to nearly the same amount for low-angle shots, but with the Freewell tripod, if you remove part of the center column with the tool that's attached to the hook, you can get your camera even lower to the ground for even lower angles. So who wins functionality? I have to give it to Freewell because if you mainly shoot video, the ball head and the handle, the different thread mounts, the amount the legs open up, and the monopod gives it the upper hand compared to Peak Designs, in my opinion. But if you mainly shoot photos, the simplicity and safety of Peak Designs ball head probably is the right choice. So who wins? Freewell gets a point for being lighter. Both are pretty even on size when you factor in height and diameter. Peak Design definitely gets a point with the ability to carry more weight as well as its stability. Build quality slightly goes to Peak Design. They're pretty even, but we'll call it half a point. Functionality goes to Freewell in my opinion. So that is 1.5 points for Peak Design and 3 points for the Freewell tripod. I am actually traveling soon. I'm traveling to Kazakhstan and I have decided to bring Freewell's tripod with me. The main reason being it is lighter, the head works better for video, which I mainly shoot, and I want the ability to use the monopod at times. But both are really great tripods and I'm curious to know which one you think you would use for the type of content that you shoot. Let me know in the comments and I hope you have a great rest of your day.